Have you ever experienced the moment someone you love betrayed you? I did. And this wasn't just betrayal. This was a scandal between my pregnant wife and our neighbor of 10 years, happening right there in the hospital room. My name is Michael. I'm 34 years old, and my hands are still shaking as I tell this story, because what I experienced was worse than any nightmare. It was reality. My wife Sarah and I had been married for 6 years. We were a happy couple. Or so I thought. Sarah was 8 months pregnant. It was going to be our first child, and we were both incredibly excited. But complications started in the final months of pregnancy. The doctor said she needed to be hospitalized. When Sarah was admitted to the hospital, our neighbor David started being very attentive. David was around 40, divorced, living alone. He lived in the apartment above us in the same building. "Michael, buddy, if Sarah needs anything, just let me know. I'm here for you," he said. He seemed so genuine that I felt relieved. How wonderful to be surrounded by such good people, I thought. In the first few days, I went to the hospital every evening. Sarah was tired, but happy. David visited again today. Such a sweet guy. He brought fruit, we chatted, she would say. I was happy too. It felt good knowing my wife wasn't alone. But there were strange things I started to notice. Sarah's phone was constantly buzzing with message notifications. When I asked, "Who's that from?" she'd say, "Oh, from friends. They're asking questions about the pregnancy process." One day, I left work early. I wanted to surprise Sarah at the hospital. Walking down the corridor, a nurse said, "I saw your wife was very happy today. Her visitor really cheered her up." "Visitor? Who came?" "Oh, wasn't that you?" A handsome gentleman came. He stayed for a very long time. He seemed like someone very close. My heart started racing. Who was this man? Why hadn't Sarah told me? As I walked toward the room, I began to hear voices from inside. Sarah was laughing. But this laugh was different from the one she used with me. More intimate, warmer. I stopped by the door. I heard a man's voice inside. "Baby, it's illegal for you to be this beautiful. Even pregnant, I want to kiss you." The world spun around me. This voice was David's. "David, what if my husband comes?" Sarah whispered. "Don't worry, sweetheart. He's at work now. We have time until evening." I couldn't breathe any more. My hand went to the door handle. I had to go in. This was a nightmare. It couldn't be real. I slowly opened the door. What I saw was the worst moment of my life. Sarah, with her pregnant belly, was sitting on the hospital bed. David was beside her, running his hand over Sarah's face. Both froze when they saw me. "Michael!" Sarah screamed. This isn't what it looks like." David jumped to his feet. His face was bright red. "Michael, buddy, I was just—" "Shut up!" I yelled. "Don't either of you open your mouths. How long has this been going on?" Sarah started crying. "Michael, please listen to me. This is just—" "How long?" I asked again, my voice trembling. David spoke. "Michael, this is a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" My voice was so loud that nurses came from the corridor. The nurses tried to calm the situation. Security came. I was escorted out. I stood in the corridor, my hands shaking. David followed me. "Michael, please, let's talk." "Talk? We've been neighbors for 10 years. I call you brother. I eat at your house. You eat at mine. And you, with my pregnant wife." This wasn't planned, Michael. It started after Sarah was hospitalized. We were both lonely. After I divorced my wife. "Shut your mouth." That's when I learned the affair had been going on for 3 months, since Sarah's first week in the hospital. Every day the kind neighbor who came to visit was actually... I called Sarah from my phone. "We need to talk," I said in a cold voice. The next day, I met with my lawyer. Sarah kept calling. Michael, the baby is yours. We can do a DNA test. I was just lonely. David was being caring. DNA test. I hadn't even thought of this. What if the baby? When the test results came, the baby turned out to be mine. But that didn't change anything. I had been betrayed. My trust was broken. Sarah gave birth. We had a beautiful son. But I didn't go to the hospital. I couldn't find the courage to go. On the day my son was born, my mother called me. Michael, no matter what happens, that's your son. This child is innocent. Go to the hospital. But I couldn't go. I kept imagining everything. David visiting Sarah, them laughing together, even during my son's birth moment. Sarah kept texting me, Michael, please come. Your son is waiting for you. I made a mistake, but let's raise this baby together. 3 days later, I couldn't take it anymore. I went to the hospital, but not to see Sarah, just to see my son. In the nursery, through the glass, I saw him. Small, innocent, unaware of everything. His eyes looked like mine. My hands touched the glass, and at that moment, I realized I had to fight for this child. I entered Sarah's room. She was lying in bed, looking pale and tired. When she saw me, she started crying. Michael, you came. Yes, I came, but not for you, for my son. I know I made a mistake, but please forgive me. Let's save our family. That night at home, I prepared the divorce papers, but with one condition. My son's custody would be mine. David was no longer visible in the neighborhood. The neighbors had heard what happened and ostracized him. I later learned that he had moved to another city. Sarah signed the papers. Can I at least see our son? She asked. Once a week, supervised visits. Today, 2 years have passed. My son calls me Daddy. Sarah comes to see him, but I'm not there when she does. It takes time to erase the traces of betrayal. But I learned one thing. Sometimes people can disappoint you, but you don't have to destroy your own life because of it. My son was innocent. And by doing the right thing for him, I became a real father. Some stories don't end with a happy ending, but even in these stories, hope and new beginnings are hidden. If you've experienced such betrayal, remember, children are never responsible for their parents' mistakes, and sometimes the greatest victory is being able to show mercy even when you're right.